Hello.
Welcome to Juicy Talk.
Hey.
Hey,
Hey,
welcome,
hey. Welcome.
welcome to Juicy Talk. Your host, the lovely Juicy,
Thank you.
and your co-host, Juice of Party Entertainment. And we
Yes.
have another great show conversation. With,
We're gonna go great. You ready for the conversation
I'm ready.
today?
I'm ready.
We're gonna have a great conversation. I'm ready. We got a great topic today. Very good topic. I'm excited about it. Hey. Hey everyone. Thank you for joining. What's up? Hi, everybody. We have a great topic for you guys today. Cannot wait to get into it. It's going to be great. But before we get into topic, I just want to say happy birthday. Yes, happy 37th birthday to my homie and a favorite of the show,
Absolutely.
Delta Roots
Dr.
in the
Ruth, happy
building.
birthday.
Happy birthday. We're excited that you chose to spend your birthday with us. So we're excited about it.
I also want to say Happy New Year to everybody. This is
Yes,
our
Happy
first
New
show
Year.
of the year. Made it
I,
through another year,
we
right?
made it through another
Another
year.
year.
I'm
Yeah,
grateful to
so
be here for
me
real.
too. Me
Yes, it's been 2024. I'm glad to see it go.
too. I know that's right.
2024. I'm
But
glad to see it go.
woo, man,
Whew, it was a trip, but we're here.
we here. Like
We're
I said,
here.
we here.
So, any special things you want to talk about
Ah,
before we get started?
I don't know. I just had a great New Year's.
Okay.
Made a little bit of money and had a good time and
Yes.
ate a lot. Ate a lot.
Ooh, can't go wrong with
No,
that.
and just excited that we were able to see another year.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited about it as well. We
That's
had a
awesome.
really great 2025. I did absolutely nothing and enjoyed every minute of it. Usually I'm out and about and going to parties and stuff like that, but I just was at home and I had a really laid back time. So I really enjoyed myself this year.
Awesome.
And I'm
Awesome.
grateful. So I want to talk about the cruise.
Oh,
Don't
absolutely.
forget about the cruise. If you look up in the corner, right there, over there in the corner, as you can see, I'm pointing at it. If you go over there and you look up there, you will see that we are having a cruise. And don't forget about it. You have until February
28th.
28th to
Yes.
get your $100
Deposit.
paid deposit. And we're going to have a great time on the cruise. We're really excited. Thank you for everybody who's already paid their money
I
to
know, right?
go on a cruise. Like it's a lot of people going, and people are really excited about it. So it makes me excited about it. So
I'm truly excited.
yes,
Truly excited.
come party with us. It's gonna be a good time. All right, all right. So we're
All
gonna
right.
get straight into it.
Yeah.
So today's topic is why are men and women so divided?
Ooh, that's juicy.
It's juicy, ain't it? It's definitely juicy.
Ooh,
Before I get into it though, one of the things that I want to do in 2025 is really focus on having a conversation, right?
okay.
But making sure that we have that it's not negative. Like I feel like we focused so much last year like on the negative things that happened that I really want us to just focus on more of the positive. Like yes, it's negative things happening. Yes, we done been through a lot. 2024 is out the door. I'm so happy about it. And I was like, 2025, are we fine? So let's get it together. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And I want this conversation today to be a positive conversation. I want it to be a conversation where we really are focusing on the best us and just really having an open conversation where we really hear each other today. So
Absolutely.
today is really about progress
Yes.
and moving forward and doing better because that's what it's about today.
Right. Well, we got
You
to
feel
find out
me?
what the problems and try to
Yeah.
make
We're going to talk
solve the
about
problem.
it, then we're going to fix it. How about
Absolutely.
that?
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. That's my goal for this year. That's how people set goals for 2025. This is the goal I'm setting. I want to talk about the problem, but then I want to let's talk about solving it. Let's have a resolve at the end of it. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
that's what it's about. So we got some good stuff in store for y'all today. So
With
into
that
the
being said,
topic. Why do you think men and women are so divided?
woo. Well, I think there one for sure lack of communication for sure. I
Yeah.
think uh, for whatever reason the one person may shut down before the other one does. It's not they're hearing. the one person saying something, but they're not
Mhm.
really listening. So
Yeah.
the breakdown of the communication. Then secondly, we just got to get back to how things used to be the old way. I look at relationship as a chess game. I know it's kind of cliche, but it is true. Life is a relationship is like a chess game. You have the king and you have the queen. The queen is to protect the king. So we need to get back to that. And once we get back to that, I think structure is also that's so important in a relationship. So we must have structure.
So, in your opinion, defining men and women roles have a major part to play
Absolutely.
in why we're not where we need to be
Correct. Yes.
when it comes to relationships. I can agree with that. I do think that we have definitely got away from, the masculine identity and the feminine identity in our roles. I think, like, in society, if you look at it now, because of the fact that women have made strides with their education, we don't have the restrictions that we once had as far as, like, money. We're buying homes, we're buying cars, we're taking trips. We
Right.
have access to money where, like, back in the day, a woman, she pretty much got married and depended on her husband to provide
Mhm.
most of her substance,
Correct. Yeah.
where now it's not so much like that. So I think, like, one of the things that I feel is really truthfully happening is we're more independent. And so women are operate because we have more freedom and more independence and we are more in control of our lives,
Mhm.
right? It has shifted the way that we interact with one another to a
Mhm.
certain extent, to the point where now we're not accepting and tolerating the things that we used to. And I think that, and also we're kind of a bit taking on the role, a masculine role, in the fact that we are caring for ourselves, taking care of ourselves. We're doing all of this. So we're kind of taking on a bit of a masculine role with it. And I think that men, on the other hand, they want to feel, like, when I look on social media and things like that, I think that it's a lot of conversations about men talking and dealing with their feelings, and women not covering them when they feel vulnerable, or women not even acknowledging their feelings and how they feel about the
Mhm.
different things that they're going on. So I think that that is a thing that is affecting us adversely.
And the other thing I want to piggyback on, as far as
Mhm.
men is concerned, um, we look at social media a lot, and a lot of them say women are really totally disrespecting men. I think we need to get back to uh, having a man back into that leadership
Mhm.
when it comes to relationship. Um, Also, the other thing we need to look at is a partnership. I think sometimes sometimes could be looked at as a sponsorship, not so much type of a partnership between couples.
Mhm.
So we need to really get back to the partnership instead of a sponsorship. And
Yeah.
what I mean by that partnership mean we all together. We're one. I got her back. She got my back. Now
Mhm.
with the when I say sponsorship, is what you can do for me. So we need to get away from that thinking of what can you do for me. And once we realize we're in this together, things will flow much better.
Do you think that women don't appreciate men the way that we used to?
Uh, I think a little bit, but I think some of that is some, and I hate to say this, I think it's part of it's our fault.
Mm. Why is
So
that?
I think some of the things that we've done in the past has come back to bite us.
Mm.
Some of the roles that we've taken on, we haven't been like we should have been. So it's kind of hard to kind of backtrack right now. So I think we need to kind of in the man's where we need to kind of get back to where we were at the beginning of the time.
Yeah, I think that it has a lot to do why we're not identifying with each other, because we have changed our roles to a certain extent.
Mhm.
We have swapped roles. And those roles, I do think roles are important. I know a lot of times people don't think roles are important, but I think roles are important in a relationship. I like a masculine man. I want you to be masculine, but that doesn't mean domineering. And with that, I want to play this first clip because I think that this video really highlights the importance of feminine and masculine energy. Check this out.
A lot of men like women, but they don't like feminine energy because feminine energy leans on masculine energy, and you need to be masculine to be able to deal with that shit. Because let's think about it. At the surface, a woman is very playful. She's very intuitive. She's very empathetic. There's so many things to love about a woman at the surface. But after all of those things, she then goes to being vulnerable. And then she surrenders. And then she leans on a man. She then depends on a man. She then becomes insecure about her man. She then becomes emotional about her man. And those are all qualities that a real masculine man should be able to deal with. Because when you masculine, you don't mind communicating because you're ambitious. And when you're ambitious, you're goal driven, you're action driven, you're doing driven. So if you have real ambition towards taking care of the woman that's around you, that ain't shit. That ain't nothing but another challenge. But masculinity is confused as being these big dog, macho man ass people. No, masculine energy is all predicated on feminine energy. And if you can't deal with feminine energy, then you're not really that masculine. Masculine ain't no macho man shit. It's being able to be the problem solver for all of the problems that the feminine have. And that's what the feminine energy is, being the problem solver for all of the problems that the masculine have. So it goes hand in hand. But I do feel like there's a lot of lust attached towards women rather than love attached to women, because if there was real love there, then you wouldn't have no issue dealing with a woman's qualities when she really taps into them. So if you don't like feminine energy, then you're just not masculine, and that's just the way that I see it.
Bam! He said so much in that, man. I love that clip.
It's okay.
It's
okay.
I loved it
I
because
agree with everything that he said.
Listen, I agree with it because I do feel like feminine and masculine energy are one and one. They go hand in
I agree with
hand.
that part,
Like
yes.
it's like the yin and the yang. And I think that we have gotten away from that. It's so necessary. And I do feel like when you are a masculine man does not mean that you like, yo, kicking the door in, I'm the man, shut up, do what I say. That's not masculine energy. Masculine energy is operating on a higher plane and a higher vibration to the point where you're like, hey, I see you not yourself. I see you not who I'm used to you being. What's really going on with you? Let's talk about it. Where is that insecurity coming from? Where is that vulnerability coming from? Let's check that, because that's the real issue. You ain't really mad because I ain't, take out the trash. You really pissed about something else. And being able to see that and know that that's something, and then dealing with that instead of also acting in your emotions, which come off as feminine for a man. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I like that. I do feel like, and like, that's how we bring balance to one another when we operate in that manner. But that's, a bunch of jibber jabber. What you mean by that? Delta roots? What you mean?
Yeah,
Speak
well,
on
I
it.
agree.
Why?
I agree.
Why do you say that?
I agree with you.
Why do you say that?
He was blah 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 blah. He doesn't speak for me. He doesn't speak for me. I just feel like my masculinity is, again, it starts with respect. It also starts with communication between the two parties.
That's basically what he said.
But I just didn't like the way. I guess it's not what he said; it's how he said it.
I thought he said it really eloquently.
I disagree.
I thought he said it good. I thought he was saying, listen, balance. It's about balance. You ain't got to be beating her over the head and telling her, shut up, woman, I'm the man.
I don't think he was saying that.
In order to say that you're the macho, and in order to be masculine. It doesn't take all of that.
I don't think he was saying that, though, but I just think that
what is masculinity? Y'all in the chat, I want to hear if he is wrong and that's not masculine. I want to know what y'all think is masculine energy. And we gonna bring in our guest too. Yes, our guest. We got a guest coming in the studio. Come on, my guest. What we got? Hello, what's up?
What's going on?
What's up, Schwack man?
What's going on?
Happy New Year, Swag. Good seeing you, baby.
Happy New Year to you guys.
Thank you. So what do you think masculinity is?
I feel like some of what he said is true. I feel like some of it is it kind of leans into pandering. Nobody with a lick of sense feels like beating your fucking chest and swinging your balls is what masculinity equates to. Nobody that I know, anyway. I feel like what a lot of people miss is you have a lot of men who really match what that's supposed to be, but it's not really received well. So you can define what masculinity is, but you can't really define it from other people's perspective because it's not really received well now. So if my job is to be a problem solver in the household, right? I'm the lead of this house. I can only lead somebody who's willing to follow. And that always doesn't mean that I'm not worthy of being followed. It could just be that I'm trying to lead somebody who just does not want to or does not understand. So you can't, I mean,
I do agree with you on that. That some people don't want to be led, right? It's women who want to just be the boss, right? But what about, like, I think that a lot of times you have to be led, you have to have a vision. And I think that a lot of times what happens when it comes to man and women relationships is that we're not in a place where we're not giving like, you're not telling me what your vision is. Like, you have to have buy-in. If you are a man and you want to lead your woman and your family, where's the vision for that family? You have to discuss that. I think that it's some men, not all, that expects a woman to lead them to be led blindly. Like, trust me, I'm the man. I know what I'm doing. Listen to me. You know what I'm saying? You just need to learn how to follow. If I said I got it, I got it. It's what it is. But it's not about that. It's about partnership. Why can't we partner?
that's true. I mean, all of my answers are going to be kind of predicated on the understanding of what the core problem is. So you kind of have to address the problem before you can go into definitions of what something is, right?
So let's talk about the problem.
Huh?
Let's define the problem.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to do first, because I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden y'all just got real low. I'm going to take off for 2 seconds. I'm going to come right back because I know it's on my end.
Okay, cool. No problem. Somebody said, Nakia Jones says, I think feminine energy is more of on the thinking side, and masculine energy is the get it done side or the action side. I hope that makes sense. I can see where you're going with that. I think that that is true. But I'm curious, Nakia, how do we get to the place where we're understanding? Because I think it comes from a place of, like, emotion. Women, we think emotionally, men think logically, right? Because that's what that really pretty much says to me. But how do we get to a place where we're not operating in that manner? You know, like, how do we understand each other? Because clearly it's communication. What women want, we are not getting from men, and what men desire, they're not getting from women. And men in the chat, do you feel like women, like, you are underappreciated? Is that a thing? Okay, somebody said, I think the guy in the clip was on point. That's good. Okay, I thought he was on point too. I liked everything he was saying. All humans possess masculine and feminine energy. Absolutely. Modern day folk, men, do not understand masculinity and femininity. It's the yin and the yang of the psychological makeup. Absolutely. It has nothing to do with gender or roles. Yes, I'm going to bring back our guest. He should be back. Okay, you back.
Okay, cool.
You back in action. Is that
okay? So when I left off, we were talking about the problem because I was listening before you guys brought me out at the beginning.
okay?
So when we're talking about what the actual problem is, why we are at odds with each other, it boils down to two things: a lack of honesty, right? And not just honesty between the two parties, but also honesty in what these situations, what people call the ideal situations, right? So when you start talking about all of these relationships that you use as examples, right? Everybody has these grandfather and grandmother relationships, or my aunt and uncle that were married for 40 years, or whatever the case was. There's a lack of honesty with those situations and a lack of understanding with those situations. You have these relationships where the husband was fixing everything around the house. He paid all the bills. He led his household without question. And, the woman of the house, she took care of the house. She raised the children. She was his backbone, his support, whatever the case was.
Mm-hmm.
The lack of honesty comes in where nobody is talking about how granddad had kids all over the city.
Fact.
Nope. Nobody is talking about how granddad came in, and if dinner wasn't on the table, as long as the stick was no wider than his thumb in certain places, he could beat his wife with it.
Facts.
Nobody is talking about the fact that, grandma didn't really have options. So your job at one point in those times was to find you a husband that was suitable to sustain you.
True.
That was it.
That's it.
So when you're talking about people trying to bring these gender roles back and trying to apply them to today, they don't really work because folks don't understand what it took to make it look the way that it looked back then.
Mhm.
And then now with, women you don't have to just wait around to find you a husband to take care of you. You have the opportunity to create a whole life for yourself, without having to wait on anybody.
That's very true.
It just comes down to people want both, and you can't have both. Right? It's like what I used to teach with security consulting. You can either have total privacy or complete security. You can't have both. Because to get one, you're going to have to give on the other.
So what should we be giving up nowadays that would apply to that you think would make relationships better? Is it that ideology of the man is in power and the woman submit?
I don't think it's really any one or two or five things that you give up. I think it's understanding what it is that you truly want and finding somebody who matches the other side of that circle. Like you have to understand that if you're looking for a man who it is that is really going to love you, genuinely love and appreciate you, who has nothing but the best intentions for you, who wants to lead his household, who wants to support and love and protect you, that's what you look for. But you have to present the other side of that circle too. If you're just looking for somebody to finance you,
that's what you
present for that and know what that comes with too.
That means you're going to basically be with somebody who's going to treat you like you're a possession.
Correct. If the way that I look at it is, how you get a lot of women who say, I'm not going 50-50 on the bills with no man, that's my roommate. Cool. Well, if I'm paying all the bills and you're my child, so I do what the fuck I want to do in my house. So
I feel that.
So you can't have both. You can have somebody that you view as a partner, or you can have somebody that you view as a fucking a support system, a financial support system, and understand what those things come with. So I think what it is the honesty part is you're not being honest with what it is that you actually want, and you're not being honest with yourself about what you're actually going to get with what you actually want. It's like when women go out looking for a street nigga that shoots motherfuckers from 2-3 in the morning to 5-6 in the afternoon, but you want him to still hold the door for you and go to church with you on Sundays and shit. Or these guys who want to go get a fucking Insta-thought, but you want somebody you can take home to your mom. You know what I mean? Like, you may find that 1% where you get those things together, but by and large, those two things do not go together.
I just want to, that's kind of what I talked about earlier. You can get a partner or you can get a sponsor. That's the same thing.
Yeah,
You broke
that's
it
it.
down. You broke it down.
That's it. It's you know, I have never seen a woman in a marriage with a guy who they went into that marriage looking for sponsorship, and then they fell in love with this guy and they have all of this respect and adoration for this guy, and they follow his every lead if that money dries up. I've never seen that.
It won't happen.
Never seen it. I've never seen a man go into a marriage with somebody who it is that, you know, he knows that he's paying for this companionship, and that he really feels like, or it might be some who are fooled into that, but really thinks that this woman loves him. He knows what that is. When that money dries up, or he finds somebody that he can replace her with when she's aging out of that role, he goes to the next thing. If you're talking about repairing things and getting things back to the way they were, there is no back to the way that they were. You can go forward and find a way to bring people together, but there are a bunch of.
How do we go forward and get things to be the way to be better? Because we seem like we're at a place where, like you said, it comes from a place of being honest. Where is the honesty?
It's when you get the truth about something, you do one of two things: you process it or you run from it. Most people get the truth. That's with any situation. Most people get the truth about a relationship and they say, okay, you are 34, you have, and this is without gender, you have 3 kids by 3 different people. You have very little in the way of stability, and your attitude is trash. But anytime somebody asks you, it's dudes ain't shit, chicks ain't shit. It's never, I fucked up and I found myself at 34, you know what I'm saying, being in this situation, and instead of trying to improve it, I'm continuing to point the finger. So
do that. Where's this coming from? Because it seems like we both feel the same way, right? Men and women. What you're saying, a lot of women feel the same way. No accountability. No one is, neither side, neither gender is taking accountability. But there's no solution. Like, what is the solution? Like, why are we not able to be honest?
To sit with yourself. Because if you can't be honest with yourself, who the fuck can you be real with?
But it's so many people who are not honest with themselves. Like, we're seeing,
and you have to leave those people where they are. You can't listen.
It's so many fakers.
You can't save everybody. You have to be listen, the hardest shit in the world to do is to get sucked in by the act, have the curtain pulled back, see who's really behind there, and then still have the strength to leave. Right? That's the hardest shit in the world to do, but it's necessary. Otherwise, you keep sitting in the same fucking place where you were with the last relationship.
So do
you know what I mean?
So, and I really want to know your perspective on this. So, when a woman is in a situation and she sees a man and he cheats on her, do you feel like she should immediately, and that's not what she signed up for, and she don't want to be with a guy who's want to sleep with multiple women? Do you think that she should just be flat out cut? I'm done.
If that's what she wants to do, sure. There are some people who that might be a problem, but that might not be their primary deal breaker.
Some people like that.
Yeah, it's because everything doesn't work for everybody, and that's the problem. Is people are more concerned with the entertainment value of something and how easy they can use a situation to kind of point at somebody else. They're more concerned with that than actually working on what it is that they have going on. When you say, like, why are so many people like this? Why are so many people not honest with themselves? It's because they are force-fed on socials every day, right? to this is the way that you should respond to this. Like this woman is getting cheated on by this guy. Girl, if I was you, I would done woo. You seen how so-and-so did on so-and-so with so-and-so, and it's that's your program that's the way that you're supposed to handle something. When in reality, no matter how I feel, you feel, whoever feels, that might not be the biggest deal breaker for her, right? For me, that might be, nah, I'm done. For her, that might not be it.
I know.
So it all goes back to that being honest with yourself. Are these things that it is that the world is telling you, you know, this should be the biggest problem? Couldn't be me, all this bullshit. Is that the thing for you that makes it a hard no?
And I think it's so many people that's caught up on what other people think or other people's perception. Like we live in a society where everybody, you know, it's a lot of women who wanted to stay with their spouses, but because all they people was like, girl, fuck that, leave him, he did this, him, you know, it's influence, or vice versa. You a simp, you a sucker. You know, you let her stay at home. She ain't got to do. You a sucker for that. You know, it's all these different that outside forces. So, with that being said, how much do you feel like social media plays a role? Like, we got this red pill community, like in this.
Hey, it is a huge difference maker in people's relationships now, even when they don't realize that it is, because every day you get up with the ability to view the entire fucking world if you want, right? So you are constantly force-fed information. Somewhere in that being force-fed information, there is an underlying tone, right? It's like you're hearing a bunch of sounds throughout the day, but this one tone is there. Boom, 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 boom. And that boom, 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 after so many days, that's programmed into your head. After so many days of all of these super ratchet ass reality shows, after so many days of TMZ posts, Shade Room posts, you know, all of this, after so many days of this, you are programmed to have this response to certain things. And you're programmed to value the way that somebody else that you have never met in your fucking life, what they have to say about your situation when it makes it to the internet.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just want to say one thing. What works for someone may not work for somebody else. Because, you know, people sometimes we do stay in a relationship too long. And a person will stay in there until they're fed up. I mean, at the end of the day, we may look at it like, damn, he's using her. But at some point, she said, yeah, he is, but I'm enjoying this. This is what I like. Not to say, but, you know, it's right. You know what I'm saying? Maybe until she's fed up or he's fed up with that situation or relationship, it's not going to change.
You know what I always say?
People will talk about it. People talk about you all that. He doing this, he doing that. But until he or she is fed up, it doesn't matter.
I say if you're not being used, you're useless.
Listen, I'll give you a situation that is close to home to me for a couple of reasons, and you'll understand why after I tell you. The situation was really kind of brought up recently because what is today, the 9th? So 2 days ago was the anniversary of me finding out I got out the hospital in 2020 when COVID was COVID, or before people knew COVID was COVID, and I had it. I got out the hospital and found out that my friend had passed away. Somebody that was very, very close to me. But when she was still here, I had a situation with a woman who admittedly I was with for like 6 years, right? I was one of those people who we broke up. I didn't do no weirdo stalker shit, but I was fucking pissed for a long time, right? Because I really loved this chick. So she had moved away briefly. She moved back to Cleveland. So we had a conversation in person one time. We talked for like 3 hours, just talking, catching up and shit. So she ends up getting engaged to this guy. Now, the guy was like the fucking, if I'm just being honest, at that point, my view was he was like the great value version of me, right? So I'm a veteran. He was working with soldiers. I fought professionally. He was working with fighters. He was like the great value me, right? So I had like my, whatever thoughts on this guy. Time goes on, a really close friend of mine sees this guy, and she's like, oh, like, is this so-and-so's little shopping buddy or something? Because I know that's not her dude. So the implication was that he was maybe a little on the sweet side. So my friend who it is that passed is like, I'm going to test the theory. I'm going to send a couple of people his way and see what happens.
Ooh.
And she did.
Ooh.
And he bit.
Ouch.
So when I say that this woman brought me, no bullshit, a folder of print-ups of screenshots of messages between him and these two dudes.
What?
Like, folder this fucking thick.
Wow.
Pictures, messages, the whole nine. And I found out when she was getting married, and I was going to go pull one of these, haha, gotcha, bitch.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't, right? Because I had a talk with my grandmother. My grandmother said, no matter what you do, if you break that folder out to that woman, she might leave that guy, but you're always going to be the person who ruined her happiness, right? Fast forward, after they got married, they got a kid now, all of this type of stuff. They moved away, all of this type of stuff. Me and her are still even Facebook friends, but we don't really talk like that. She's found out what this guy is about, what this guy does, what this guy had been doing.
Wow.
She stayed.
Wow.
All of that to say, 95 to 99% of the women I know, that's a deal breaker for her. She stayed.
That was who
so
it wasn't a deal breaker for her.
That was something that she decided she was going to deal with. Right? As crazy as that shit is,
that's her truth.
She decided she was going to deal with it. Whether it was because we're in however many years, we got a kid, we got a house together, blah, 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 blah. Whether it was that, or if it was just like, oh no, I'm cool with that shit regardless.
Yeah.
She decided to stay.
Or she said, we're gonna work through this. Or she said, maybe we can work through
or
it.
whatever the case was, because I don't have all of the details of the shit, nor do I want them. But all I know is when me and her talked, and she said something to me like, this is before I knew what it really was with dude. When she said something to me like, we have never had an argument, ever. I'm like, so neither one of you were so passionate about an idea of something that I'm not saying y'all have a disrespectful knockdown drag out, but you've never argued at all. You never felt so strongly about something in opposition to the other that the conversation got a little heated. She said, no. And that doesn't sound right to me.
It don't sound right to me because I feel like that's something that is needed to grow and reach. Like
you have those as adjustment periods.
Yes,
that's how you start to acclimate to your partner, and you learn how to communicate a little bit better. I'm not saying that they have to be disrespectful. Anybody got to get called out of their name, nothing like that. But those arguments, as they become fewer and as they become easier to get through, that's when you're learning your partner. And you mean to tell me y'all been together for like 2 years at this point and you've never had an argument? That's a little strange.
Yeah.
But now, after
connection. Arguments bring about connection. It teaches you. It's like you have to have some type of passion, some type of love. It shows care to a certain extent. I'm not, like you said, not talking disrespectfully, but it's like, hey, I'm here with you. I'm present in this moment with you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
That's So all of that to say that it's about your own personal boundaries, the things that it is that you actually want. You have to be honest with yourself about what you're willing to tolerate without worrying about what somebody else is going to think, what it is that's going to make you happy without worrying about what somebody else is going to think. What are you really looking for? And then understanding that You're not always going to be right. And you need to have room somewhere in that this is my goal. You have to have room somewhere in that box for somebody else to put something in there.
I agree.
So
social media, like one of the things I want to go back to the social media thing and kind of like hit a little bit on like the red pill community and this narrative that's being steered about to men about, hey, men, concentrate on yourselves, love yourself, worry about you because it don't matter what you do. She's never going to respect you. She's never going to treat you right. She's never going to value you. These women ain't shit, basically. This narrative that's coming out. And then it's another narrative on the women's side, like you don't need no man, you independent, you got your own money, own car, own household. You don't need no man. You don't need one for nothing. You know, they not, you know, like with people like Princess P, who's talking about, hey, you know, men serve no value, no purpose. You know what I'm saying? They ain't never gonna treat you right, no matter what. You know, they should be treated like pets. You know, I mean, it's a real narrative that people are going out here, you know, share it, and it's going viral, and it's going out millions and millions of views. And it's, do you feel like that narrative is shaping the way that we are interacting with one another and where we put value at when it comes to relationships?
absolutely. Especially if you look at the dynamic of the Black family. That is where we were dismantled and starting to be dismantled years ago. It was, let's start to implant these little ideas about how the other one is of less value. You have uses here and there, but your overall value, let's start to diminish that. And then you put people in a situation where it's like, all right, we already got you with the majority of y'all being at a financial disadvantage. So women, if you have these kids by these guys, what we'll do to kind of help you push that narrative of niggas ain't shit is we'll give you money and we'll help you as long as you put that motherfucker on the back burner and let us get access to him. Because then we can make money off of him and we'll give you a little chunk of it, but we can make money off of him when we lock him up or, you know, all this other shit that we're going to do.
Put them on child support, all of that stuff. And
that was one of the big things. So if you look at everything that's going on right now, a lot of that stems from those seeds that were planted then. You know what I mean? It's kind of culturally ingrained by now.
So I agree with you when you say that the system systematically, right? The system was set up to divide the Black family. Absolutely. We know with welfare reform, where you had to be a single parent, and then they came after the man for child support for not taking care of his kid because you was getting in public assistance. So I understand that. But now we're at a position where more women are working, making more money, doing more things. Why do you feel like those society systematic issues are still affecting us today? And then
who raised those women that are making that post today?
Which Princess P? The same
not just her, but I'm talking about all the women who are making these posts, the ones that are sharing it, the ones that are sharing it with these captions. Yep, she right. Niggas ain't shit. But who raised those women that are doing that?
I guess the same ones who raised the red pill community.
Single women.
The same women who came up in that system that we're talking about. That's who's raising these women that are perpetuating those same bullshit ideas. Same with the guys. On the guy side of things, you have a whole bunch of other guys that were older than them telling them about, and don't trust no bitch. A bitch ain't gonna do shit, but woo. She gonna take this. She gonna leave you like this. She gonna put you in this position, whatever the case is. All of that, no matter how it's morphed now, it's like COVID. The strain came out, people got sick, bodies started being able to handle that strain and mutated into a new one. But at its core, it's still COVID. Same with this. At its core, it's still that same bullshit thing that we were introduced to, our families were introduced to back then that has just mutated over time.
Yeah, and I think it has a lot to do with like what I want to speak on when you were talking about the influence of men that men had, like listening to the uncles. I think that back in the day, like even growing up, I think that especially if you were a person that grew up in like if you're like in your 40s, maybe 50s, even now, that you grew up in a society where, it was pimps and hoes. Like that was a real thing. It was men who was really walking around, and that was like a idolized thing in our community. Like, look at him. He got all the women, all the money, all of this. And now we look at today and that's all you hear is we don't have those healthy relationships that are modeling what we really desire in a relationship. So we didn't have people to say, hey, even if you don't work out, you stay with your kids, you stay connected with your family. We don't have that in our community. And I think that a lack of, and like you said, bad parenting, not having parents is really showing you how to cooperate. Even if you don't work out, like even if a relationship doesn't work out, right? Sometimes relationships don't, but it was anger, frustration, women talking about the fathers. So now they grow up resenting women, hating women because you took me away from my dad and wouldn't let me see him, vice versa. And
Mhm.
my father walked out on me, and the mom talking about the father's real bad. So now this lady, she doesn't have this, she has this morphed sense of the purpose of a man. I think
Mhm.
that we have that a lot in our community, and I just want you to talk on if you think that, because I really feel like that has a large made a large contribution to where we at now.
No,
Just
for sure.
when families divided, relationships didn't work out, the other parent walking away, and it doesn't matter. Like I have this thing that I really truly feel like even if a relationship doesn't work out with somebody, that you also need someone to really connect with you. You still have to connect with your kids. Y'all still have to communicate. Y'all still have to get along with each other. It's important.
Mhm.
So
It is, and it's sad because you can't point the finger in one direction when it comes to this, because I've seen it on both sides. I've seen it where guys, just because of that influence that they had, or because there was no influence at all, they just did not understand either they didn't understand how important it was to still try to be there and be some type of influence in their children's lives, or they just didn't care to do it. And the same thing with these present but still absent mothers.
mhm.
It's really, really shitty because the only people that suffer in those situations are the kids.
Yeah. And I
You
think that's where we at right now when we see a whole community of kids out here wilding out because maybe you stayed with your mom and she was here, but she wasn't present because she was
Mhm.
trying to heal. She was trying to find her own love story or trying to figure out her own heal from her own traumas, issues, baggage, and she couldn't focus on her kids. And now you have this father who's not doing that. And now you have
Mhm.
the father, he's gone, the mom's not present, and so the kid been raising himself.
Yeah.
And I hear men say, like when I go on different, that's because she went to child support. That's why he not there. Child support does not compensate for time or influence.
Yeah, but you also have to look at this too. So this kind of goes back into the whole thing about, how the system is set up to kind of work against our families, period. Because if these systems were pushing for the benefit of the child and not just to recoup some money that it is that they're putting out, you wouldn't have to go to two separate courts for child support and visitation.
Facts. No.
You can go downtown to the child support building to get DNA swab, to make payments, to go file for adjustments and all of that bullshit. You got to go all the way over to juvenile courthouse And then even if you do that, you still have to go through this process to get the other parent to show up for mediation first. And if they don't show up to mediation, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to move this forward with an actual case to try to help you get visitation unless you can prove that the child is in immediate danger. So much that goes into that.
And you know why that is? And I'm going to take it a step further. That only happens with it being separate like that if you weren't married. So when you're married, you only go to court. And there is no separation between child support and visitation because
all that is settled when you're divorcing.
Yes, because they all have the same rights. What men need to know in the state of Ohio, if you are not married to that mom, you have to petition the court for rights to your children. Because that's what the mother has all the rights until you have established paternity. And I'm just big on that anyway, because I feel like everybody should establish paternity.
Oh, yeah. I feel like they need to pass that shit ASAP. Whenever you have a child, if the man that is there when that child is born is supposed to be the father, I feel like that DNA test should be done for everybody, regardless of what the situation is. Too many men out here that are raising kids that are not theirs.
Wait a minute. Even if you married?
Absolutely.
And you know what? And I agree with you. And you know why? Because I feel like this. Even if you marry, even in a situation where you're married, if you don't want to do it, like
that tells me something.
No, what I mean is like if that man says, "Hey, she's my wife. I'm going to sign the affidavit, and I'm refusing it because it don't matter," then that's his choice. But he had the option because a lot of times men have been married, raised children their whole entire lives, and then turn around and find out the baby not his. That's not fair too. But I also feel like if we're going to do that, then we also have to hold men to a higher standard of being just as responsible for the fail of that child. And if that child, you should not be able to walk away. It should be criminal if you walk away from your child. I really do feel that way.
You're not gonna get no argument from me on that. I feel like that lack of security and knowing that this child is yours anyway, I feel like that kind of weighs on a lot of people. I've seen that situation firsthand. Guy raising a little girl and she's 6 years old and he finds out that's not his kid. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because if you looked at them, she might not have really looked like their other kids, but she looked enough like them. It was like, I don't know, whatever. And it just happened that somebody got mad when they were drunks, blurted some shit out and started up a whole little thing to dive into it. But yeah, I feel like you're not gonna get no argument from me on that. But with that equal responsibility and that equal expectation of providing for the child, I feel like we also should be able to go into it should be retroactive too. So if we go and we get these tests done and I find out this is not my child and I've paid all of this money and the child support and I've done all of this stuff for this child, I feel like either take your ass to jail or run me my money back.
And guess what? That is a thing. You just have to petition the court for it. You can actually get your money back. If you find out that this child is not yours legally, you can get your money back from child support because you were deceived. And
it is just so hard to prove the amount because nobody keeps receipts for every single thing they buy.
Oh no, if you pay through child support, it's a receipt.
Well, yeah, the child support, yes, but as far as like things that you do outside of that,
well, you know how the courts see that. If you don't pay through child support, anything you gave was a gift.
Okay, so let me ask you this question about that then.
That's a whole nother show.
This is another argument that you get between men and women. The uses for child support.
We got to do a whole show on that. If I even started to go there, it's gonna be because it's a whole bunch to go with that. And I got a lot of strong feelings on that, but we gonna bring you when we do that show. We gonna bring you back on that.
Okay, yeah, because I got some shit for that one too.
Yeah, I know. And like my thing is though, getting back to what we were really originally talking about, like kids emulate what they see. they emulate what they see. They want to model their behavior after what they see. If you and this goes for men and women. So if you're absent, then you're teaching them to be absent to not show up for every aspect of their life. That means going to work. That means handling their business. That means going to school. You're showing them that it's okay as a man to be absent. If you a parent, if you a mother and you mean and you angry and you act out in emotion all the time and you clocking out on your sons and you hitting them upside the head and doing all this crazy stuff, or like you say, just not available to him at all, you're not emotionally present with your kids, you're doing the same thing. You're teaching them not to show up to life, not to be a part, not to be active, not to be committed to anybody. You're not modeling positive behavior and teaching them how to focus and live in this world. And then these men grow up wounded. They grow up wounded. They grow up hurt. They hate their mom because they hate the first woman that was supposed to love them. And because they hate the first woman that love them, every woman after that is paying for the mistakes of his mama. And we see it in our community all the time.
Yeah.
And
I think sometimes you get people who it is that get older, and because me being the person that it is that I am, I've had my share of very wild circumstances, but I am lucky enough to have gotten older and kind of picked up on things that it was that I needed to do to not be a lot of the shit that is that I saw around me. But not everybody is like that. You know what I mean? Like you have 3 kids raised in the same household that grew up and became totally different people with their own kids, right? So yeah, I mean, you see that, and I think a lot of people sometimes they get it confused where they say this kid came from this situation and they didn't grow up to be this fucking career criminal or this piece of shit or this abuser or whatever. And it's like, oh, well, if they could do it, anybody can do it. And that's not the case because everybody doesn't have the same mindset. But it does kind of highlight the importance of, you know, how it is that you act around your kids and the things that it is that you feed to them mentally. If you're sitting around and you and the father are not together, even if this father is trying to be present, and every single time you open your mouth about this child's father, it's something negative that is that you have to say. Or if you're the father and every time you go and you get your child and you're sitting around and every time you open your mouth about the mother is, I still would have been there in the house with you, but this bitch ain't shit. And what, you know, you're programming these kids to either view the other parent like that or view both of y'all as just some fucking weirdos. You know what I mean? So, but either way it goes, it's going to influence how it is that they act. It all kind of the entire thing with everybody with the whole conversation though is just be honest with yourself and about what it is that you're actually looking for.
Yeah.
Don't waste people's time by pretending you're looking for love and you're really looking for a sponsor. Don't waste people's time by feeling or telling them that you're looking for a partner when you're really just looking for somebody to unload your emotional baggage on. For them to carry it and give you somebody to punch for you to really get somebody to punch on emotionally because you don't know how to understand and unpack your own shit.
Or,
you know what I mean?
Or on top of that, on the men's side, stop meeting women, telling them that you want to be in an exclusive relationship, that you want to be in a relationship, and you know you bagging all the chicks. You out here for the streets.
You get way more as a guy who is, trust me, out here. I found way more success if that's what that's what I was trying to do. I found way more success with letting, hey, look, shorty, this is what it is I'm on. I'm dating shorty right here, her right here. I'm trying to date you. If you with it, cool. If not, I understand. It might not be for everybody. I found way more success with that.
I bet you have, because you know guess what? People respect honesty. I say this all the time. you can't be mad at the truth. You only can accept it or you can move on from it, but you can't never be mad. You might not like it, but you can't do nothing but accept it. The truth stands on its own. And I firmly stand on that. With that being said, I'm going to play a clip and then we're going to take some calls too, because you got to, they spicy in the comments for you right now. We had a lot to cover and get out, but they got a lot to say, boy. Woo. All right.
Okay.
A lot of women don't accept the reality that men take respect over love any day. Any day, every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Respect me before you love me. And then women position themselves where it's like, well, I'll take safety over love.
Damn. Safety, huh?
So as long as I feel safe with you, I don't have to be in love with you. Because I'll marry the man that I respect before I marry the man that I'm in love with.
You know what? Whew. When you say that out loud,
she ain't lie.
That makes some sense.
Yeah, no, she didn't lie.
I have no rebuttals.
Because even the safety, immediately when you said safety, I'm like, no. In my head, I'm like, no. They want to marry somebody that's financially keeping them safe.
And it's so many different
protect.
It's so many different layers to safety.
But mine,
emotionally,
keeping them safe.
But I don't have to be in love with my husband because I'm not gonna always.
You're not gonna always.
No.
Yeah.
But if I'm safe, where the I'm going? I'm right here.
What you think about that? Is that true?
I can't argue it.
Okay, because that's what I feel too.
I've just saying this all night.
And women need safety. Gosh, we need safety.
Yeah, I can't argue that.
For us, it's just not physical safe. It's mentally, emotionally, like she said, mentally, emotionally, financially. You want all of that. You want to feel safe. And guess what? We don't move. We be like this. I don't care. And like you was talking about old girl, and why she probably stayed with old dude is because she probably felt safe with him. He might be going out here doing whatever, but she felt safe at the end of the day. And that's why she ain't leave him. And that's just how it is. It's how it is. So we about to start taking some calls. I know people got a lot of stuff to say. We're going to see what they got to say. Woo-wee. Yeah, they got some stuff. So if you want to call in or if you want to click the link and come on StreamYard and come on live on the show and give your opinion and say what you got to say, you can do that as well. The link is in the comments. So if you see in the comments the link, you can go to the link and you can follow the link, copy it out of and paste it, and then we could talk about it. Okay, Sanella said, yes, I agree. After weighing what you have had experience with and what was successful for you, safety net is the greater of the choice if it had to be. I agree. Listen, even safety in love, it's a safety in love. When you love somebody, there's a safety in that. I can trust you. I can depend on you. I can rest in you. That's love to me. That's the ability to be able to woosah and just know that you got me and I got you. That's real love to me. What did we feel when we were kids and we were growing up? If you came from a two-parent, it don't even have to be two-parent, but if you just had a parent that loved you and cared for you, it made you feel safe. It made you feel secure. Bocat, call in to the show. You saying no, ma'am? I want to know what you saying no, ma'am, too. Call in 216-245-3380. We are taking calls and the line is open. Speak on it. Bocat, I need you to call in. Yes, there's safety. I mean, hey, everybody agree. There's safety. Where is it at? Because I like it. Yes, you can absolutely fall in someone. That's how you fall in love. Once you feel safe with a person, that's how you fall in love with them. What you think?
On the other side of it too, when like what he was saying about with, us as men, definitely the respect thing over anything else. because a lot can come with that.
Absolutely.
It may not be like this, I'm just so deeply in love with this person, but I know this person is respectful and supportive. I'm probably snatching you up so fucking quick because unfortunately, that's becoming increasingly rare.
That's deep.
And, you know, I just want to piggyback on that. That is so important to a man that a woman does respect him. It really takes actually the relationship to a different level when you respect your partner.
That's a
With
fact.
with that being said, when you respect somebody, when you respect your partner, there's a lot of layers that come with that. So once you respect that person, there are other things that come with it. Like, for example, you have that companionship comes with that. You have that love for that person. You can be also vulnerable with that person because you respect that person, that they're gonna keep that between you and yourselves, not outside the family. So when you respect, it's so deep, it's so necessary.
I agree. Okay, I want some people to call in. Where you at? Where you at? I was all that in the chat. Y'all ain't called. Let me make sure that I got it open so people can call in. Yes, it's it's so many ways and things that we can go when it comes to this because relationships is a doozy. But I one of the things that I really I just want us to be in a place where we are. Yep. So it is open. The phone lines are open. You can call in if you want to. Yes, I love safety. Safety is love. And I also feel like respect is important. I think that men will take respect over love. I know, I mean, I've talked to a lot of men who says like, yeah, love is an emotion. It's fleeting. It changes. You're never going to wake up in love with your partner every single day. Sometimes they might get on your nerves, like, get the fuck out of my face today.
Unknown
You still love them. All right, we got a call.
Tina.
Hey.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hello, welcome to Juicy Talk. Can you hear?
Hello? I have my bulletproof vest on.
Oh, Bo-Cat in the building. What's your name and where you calling from?
Bo-Cat, I'm calling from Maryland. Don't shoot me, Juicy.
I'm not gonna shoot you, girl. I just want to know where you're coming from. Okay? Because I'm like, I don't agree. No, ma'am, you wrong. I'm like, what?
No. It's, you know what, with texting, right? You don't really know like the context of, what someone is really saying.
True.
But I was just listening to the gentleman. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah. Can y'all hear in the chat? Okay. Go ahead. I'm listening.
So a few things. I think just high level, right? I'm not going to take a whole lot of time. We all have different perspectives. That's wonderful, right?
Yes.
We feed off each other. That's great. But I just think that this era that we're in, we are, men and women are just so shallow. Like everybody's like on the surface level of love, of masculinity, of femininity, of all these buzzwords, right? And I'm not trying to discredit it like it's not important and the perspectives are not even valid, but I just think that we haven't scratched the surface of what the core is. And in my opinion only, I don't think that there is a separation of men and women, like in terms of masculine energy, feminine energy. We both possess those things, right? And so we activate ourselves according to whatever the task is. It has nothing to do with gender, has nothing to do with what the man's role is or the female's role in a particular marriage I'm talking about, not anything else. And then the no ma'am part came in where on the video, the woman was saying, we prefer safety over love. I personally don't subscribe to that. And then the respect thing in terms of men, you're hearing all of this buzzing around, I want to be respected. I want to be respected. but I haven't heard men really articulate what respect is. Because automatically, if a female loves you, respect is kind of like tied with that. So does she really love you? Like, do we even know what love is? You know what I mean? I just think it's so shallow, and it's like I sound irritated but I'm not irritated. I'm just passionate about it.
No,
but I'm just saying, like, I just think that we're just so shallow about what partnership or whatever word you want to use in terms of relationships, right? It's not a gender specific role, in my opinion. I do think men are subscribed to do traditional things, protection, providership, those traditional things, female nurturer, just the way that we're wired. But we interplay with both of those energies depending on the circumstances.
I definitely feel I agree with you about the inner exchange between both genders. Definitely, like when you're in a marriage, you become one. So when you're one, it's a circle. It's like the infinity sign,
Right.
like an 8, right? So it's up and down.
Yeah.
The exchange is all around. It's no break in that. So I do agree with you on that, but you have to get there, right? I do feel like definite roles matter. And I definitely agree with your points. Now, you said something. What did you say no, ma'am, to? Because I want to hit back on that.
The no ma'am, where the video, the female was speaking about, the young lady was
Safety
speaking
and
about
love, right?
and respect, like men prefer respect. Well, females want to be respected too.
We do.
It's not like I'm going to take safety over respect. I definitely want to have respect, right? But I do think they're tied together. All these things that we want the same thing, right? But I think there's an emphasis that's going on right now in society, especially on podcasts, where the man is like, I want respect. Well, what the hell is respect, right? What is it? What can you even describe what that is?
Okay,
Right.
well, I'm gonna let the man address that on the show. Go ahead. Guess first.
Okay, so some of the stuff that she was saying, I agree with. Where I start to disagree is, okay, well, first, we know that everybody wants basically the same thing. I think what they were saying is there is a preference as far as who values what particular thing more. Because men want safety too, even if it's just emotional safety. We want to be able to speak to somebody and know that those feelings aren't going to be taken and weaponized later, right? So yeah, we do want the same thing. When it comes to the statement you made about, well, she loves you, then respect comes with that. Not necessarily, because it kind of goes back to what the conversation was earlier, whereas how you're raised dictates a lot of who you become as an adult. So you may have your idea of love. You were raised with, say, your mother and father were going at it all the time at home, and it was always I love yous exchanged before and after that. So you may think your idea of love may be, when I get mad, I call you out your name. Your idea of love may be, it's okay for me to get pissed off and put my hands on you. Your idea of love may be, let me break your shit to show you how pissed off I am. That's not respect. So you can't say that, oh, well, if she loves you, then respect comes with that. You have to sometimes, and speaking as a person who's gone through this, sometimes you don't get that because they don't know how to do that, right? You have to, as a man, decide to either, maybe I know her, she genuinely wants to be different, let me try to teach her, or say, I'm not trying to teach no grown-ass woman how to respect me. I'm going to find somebody who will. So those things don't automatically go together. I've been in those situations where it was somebody who even chased me after I left, talking about how much she loved me, but was super fucking disrespectful. So no, those things don't necessarily go together. And yes, we do already understand that, the genders don't necessarily dictate the type of energy you present or whatever. Because as a nurturer, this little crazy child that's running around right now tearing stuff up in the background, I'm definitely a nurturer when it comes to her. However, I was a door kicker for a lot of years as a job. So yeah, you definitely possess both energies, but it's just what is more present when you're balancing out in a household. So yeah, I mean, I feel like that's kind of where the miscommunication is between men and women a lot of times now, is you have an understanding of something and you hold that to be so true that nobody can knock you off of that, to kind of for you to make space to be like, oh, okay, we do want the same things, but I just need to have a different understanding of how we both meant that. Nobody's leaving room for that. And that's why there's no balance now.
That's good. I agree with both of y'all. Y'all
Yeah.
both make some very valid points. What do you think, Bocat?
I love it. I love his response. I definitely agree. I would say this. So the gentleman and everyone else on the call, you know how we think about, you said something about love, and everyone, we demonstrate love differently, right? And I agree with that. But I would say this also, every word that we have learned, right? Whether, in school, in the community, in your household or whatever, those words have a definition, right? That we agree to.
True.
So when I say that love, respect and love go together, I'm coming from the perspective of the definition of love from a biblical sense. So I know that is not everyone's, definition. But when I think about what love is, right? Love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not dishonor, and all those other things. That is the definition that I'm coming from in terms of what the word love is. So anything outside of what I have subscribed to in terms of that definition, that's why I'm saying that if you truly love, according to the definition, respect goes with it. Honor goes with it. It's not selfish. It's not boasting. It's not angered. It's all of these not things. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect at it, because I'm not. But what I'm saying is, if you agree to the words that we use, we can't make up what we think love is. Love is a thing, and it's several different things. So it doesn't matter, like, we kind of play on those things and say, oh, I'm in love with them, where you can't even describe what in love is, right? It's love or not love. That's my perspective anyways. That's what I mean by that.
Thank you so much. That was an amazing way to end the call, and it was great. Absolutely respect it. Thank you so very much, and I appreciate
Thank you all. Great show.
You're my
always.
favorite person. You're my favorite person.
Love you.
Love you too. Take care.
All right. Love you guys.
All right,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.
I also want to add something else to the pot. We also got to be able to apologize to our partner and say, you know what, I messed up, and I'm sorry that I maybe I said something out of line, and I shouldn't did that. So we got to be able to also admit to be held accountable to some of the things that we say to our partners, and not be not so lackadaisy, But we just, to make things work, we got to have respect and be able to say, you know what, I'm sorry.
I made a mistake.
And mean it. You can't just say, I'm sorry every time you do something. You got to mean what you say to that person. That's so important. And
go ahead. I'm sorry.
And that's another reason why we have these divisions of relationships. We're not saying that we're sorry. We go on and things continue to manifest, and you wonder why people aren't speaking to each other. He's sitting on one end of the couch, you sitting on the other end of the couch, and that's why we have these problems.
I agree with you. I agree. Definitely.
Very true.
You have to be able to say, I always say, true repentance brings about a change. It's not enough to say, I'm sorry and I apologize if it's not followed up by action, because then that is really I'm sorry, and I
Yeah.
apologize. That was great. That was good. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Really deep.
Yeah.
This has been a great conversation.
Always.
So, Sanella said, and to be honest, no one is perfect. We're all learning as we go. So it's a process. Love needs to be first. I agree. Yes,
okay.
yes. And she said, and God in the center. I think that this was really, really good. I mean, I like the points that you hit on. You really said a lot, Hardy, everybody, and I think this was really positive. I wanted it to be a show where I felt like we left accomplished because I feel like a lot of times when it comes to us having this conversation, it's a lot of this is why and the pointing fingers, but this felt like we actually listened to one another, And I
Yeah.
feel like we need more of this. I feel like we need more of us listening to one another, understanding where we're coming from, being transparent about how we feel and what it is that we truly need, instead of always coming from a place of it's your fault.
hmm
And I do think that being able to be vulnerable with somebody, everybody wants to be safe. Everybody wants to know that, like, if I share my deeper, most inner thoughts with you, that, like you said, you're not going to come back and weaponize them against me. And both men and women both do it to one another. And I think that that's a place that we need to start, just respecting each other enough where we're not doing that to each other, where we're hurting each other or we're wounding each other beyond repair.
The other,
hmm
the other thing I also want to talk about, as far as the vision of relationships or between men and women, we have to also uplift we have to uplift each other. That's another part that's so important in men and women. We got to stop beating each other down, being disrespectful in front of the kids. We got to choose our battles at the time. Sometimes we can't say certain things in front of kids. We have to wait till those kids go to bed and say, you know what, we'll put this to the table and we'll talk about it later. The other thing I want to talk about, one more thing, is the alignment in far as couples. We need to be aligned with each other. So those are the other two things I want to kind of touch on through this conversation.
Yeah, that's good.
I feel like a lot of times too, you have to be able to fight your own ego, and you have to be able to fight. You have to be able to fight that need to defend yourself in situations that you don't need to be trying to defend yourself.
Mm.
And it's not just a situation where you're confronted with something directly from your partner. It could be like when you started talking about the kids and not saying certain things in front of the kids. That's not even necessarily just when you're having a disagreement with your partner. That could be something that's carried from household to household. What I mean by that is picking up your kids from your child's mom when you're spending time with them, and you're hearing about all of these things that it is that this woman has said in front of this child in regards to you. You have to fight that urge to be like, well, no, this is what you got to fight that.
Yeah.
Something that I did, I waited until my two oldest were good and grown and had a conversation and said, any questions you have ever wanted to ask about me and your mom's relationship, ask. I'm going to tell you the truth, and the truth sometimes it's not going to make her look the best. Sometimes it ain't going to make me look the best, but I'm going to let you know what it is straight down the middle.
That's real.
And that was something that I think was appreciated because I didn't try to give this one-sided account of different events. You know what I mean? But the question that I was asked from my oldest was, I remember one time you came to pick me up and we went to wherever the hell we were going, and my mom was yelling all of this stuff out the door when you picked me up and you didn't say anything. So I thought that like that's what had actually happened. What was going to be accomplished by sitting there and arguing with her about that? So, you know, the thing as a guy, you have this thing where you want to kind of like, you know, straighten your back up square your shoulders and get ready to start fighting back. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You have to know when to let that go.
That's
I just want to
good.
go piggyback what you had said about the ego. Sometimes we have to, like you said, we have to choose our battles. And one thing about when you apologize, you have to sometimes you gotta swallow your ego and say, you know what, I messed up. You got to be tough about that. And sometimes your pride,
sure.
will, you know, you got to put that aside.
You might be a little wounded, but it's the right thing to
right
do.
to do at the time.
Yeah.
You know? That's a good
For
point.
sure.
Yeah.
I've definitely had to do that, and at certain times where I was just kind of like, this is gonna fucking suck. But what I do is, like I said, I don't know if I said this before when I was talking to you guys, but there's something that I do periodically when absolutely nothing wrong is going on, right? I will wake up, because normally I'm the first person to wake in the house. So I'll wake up and I'll look at her and I'll give myself, I have a very, very powerful imagination. So I will give myself a situation where something happened to that woman and me about to leave and walk out the door was the last time that I saw this woman alive. Right. And I periodically do that because it helps to keep me humble in my relationship.
Yeah.
Because I haven't come into a situation, into an argument, into a disagreement, into anything where I can say, well, shit, if something happened, I really wouldn't, I don't give a fuck. And knowing that is what keeps me like, the rest of that shit's not worth it. It's not worth the ego. It's not worth the fucking argument. It's not worth the shit that's going to come out of that, where a bunch of people, where we're saying a bunch of shit that we probably don't mean, but we're doing out of anger because one wants to be bigger than the other. Not that deep. So I do little things to make myself humble in my relationship. And I think that's something that you might not do it that same way, but find a way to check yourself regularly, even when nothing is going on, so that when those situations do pop up, you can be like, damn, I just thought about this shit the other day, what I would do if I came home and she wasn't here and I found out what the fuck, you know, just shit like that. And it's like like a checkpoint in your head.
Yeah, I absolutely like that. You want to read that? Slot Philosophies by Chai, Safety and Respect. To tie it back to the initial point, both sexes are seeking the opposite as well, but scared to admit it, which is why masculinity and femininity aren't aligned.
Mm.
That's good.
That's deep.
I like what you said about giving yourself the scenario in your mind, like what would I do if this person wasn't here? I think that having that mindset for men and women both, if we really took the time to really think about that, we would make a lot of different decisions when it comes to relationships. We would value each other more if we just took the time out to say, damn, how would I really feel? Okay, I'm mad because he left the toilet seat up and he ain't cleaned out the sink. You know what I'm saying? And he ain't cleaned out the trash and I'm pissed, right? But damn, how would I feel if this was he was to walk out the door and get in an accident? It's the last time I'm gonna see this person. Like what I wanted to be, what I wanted to end with an argument. You know?
Yeah.
That's, ooh,
that's the reason why. And on the other side of that, if I ever got into a situation where I had that thought and I ran myself through that checkpoint and I was like, I don't think that would really hold that weight to me anymore. It's time for me to move on.
Mm-hmm. It's
time for me to move on.
I want to read that last comment. Men swallow a lot not to go to jail and avoid conflict instead of addressing it because of the fight it brings. It's a very sick cycle.
Yeah, yes and no. Of course, you deal with a lot in the world, period, to not slap the shit out of somebody and end up going and sitting down somewhere. But also, I don't limit myself to those two options. You know what I mean? The options for me aren't, you know, not react and then react and go to jail. The options for me are not react in a way where, you know what, I'll see you in a little bit, or react in a way where I just shut the fuck down. I'm gonna let you get that out, and then once you realize, oh shit, he's quiet, and then you start coming down, like, hey, you know, maybe I took stuff a little. You can't. It can't just be just this and this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then when you start programming yourself to be like, if I say something, or if I let you get to me, I'm gonna go to jail. You already set yourself up for failure. It can't just be those two things.
Yeah, we gotta be able to control ourselves emotionally. We can't. I mean, like, you have to have control over your own self. You can disagree with somebody, not like what they say. You ain't even gotta push down how you feel, because that's who you are. That's being authentic.
Because every disagreement doesn't have to be an argument anyway.
Yeah,
and that's the problem, is people think that just because I don't agree with you, we have to fucking argue. No, we don't. Like,
that's real talk, though. But you know what? We are driven by it. We're driven by that conflict of because it's a I want to win, you want to win. Nobody's really trying to understand and really reflect on, like, what are you really saying to me? No one wants to hear the other person, you know, and that's where the conflict come in at. Every fight ain't a battle, you know what I'm saying?
I think when you've been a person who has been on the side of the worst possible side of where conflicts go, even if it was a job, like as a soldier, when you've seen the worst possible outcome of a conflict, which is somebody who will never get to see another day with their feet planted firmly on the ground, it puts a lot of things into perspective, because does everything have to go like this?
Yeah.
And the answer very clearly is no. So what do you do now? You find something else. It's the reason why, like I said, I get on these social media platforms, I crack my jokes, I talk my shit, but I'm not going to let you take me out of my hookup unless I absolutely have to, because I know what it is. I know the levels of things that it is that I can, you know, reach into, and 99% of the time it ain't even worth it. It's not necessary. Is it costing me resources to provide for my family? Has it become something that is a safety issue for me or my family? No. So why?
I agree. Derek said that's if, I guess he's saying that's if you're with a significant other, a person that understands a disagreement isn't an argument. You know, what I'll say to that is, you choose to fight or not. Like, if I don't want to be in an argument with somebody, you can't bring me and make me be in an argument with you. I'm going to choose not to engage.
Right, because it takes two to argue.
It takes two to argue. I'm just not going to engage. I ain't doing it, dog. Sorry. You know what I'm saying? Right. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to be quiet, and I'm going to look at you. And I'm not going to let it provoke me. We allow things to provoke us, and we choose not to be provoked. I'm going to choose not to be. Putting the clip back up. I do not like to argue or fight because I just don't do well and my anxiety goes up. Yeah, I feel you on that. So I got another clip I want to play, and I think this is a real good one. So we're going to play one more clip, and we're going to talk about it.
We both been traumatized. We both been scarred. We both been hurt. We all need therapy. So can we be a safe space for one another? Can you teach me how to love you? Can you teach me how to be compassionate to you? Can you teach me how to be the man that you need me to be? And I'm going to teach you how to be. Because what we got to realize is, I come from one environment, you come from one environment. It's impossible for us to see the world the same way. But if we don't talk about it, how can we ever walk the same way? I come from where I ain't even know about no love. My hard work was love for me. Get up in the morning, Do this, do that, that's love. You got a roof over your head, that's love. You got food on it, that's love. You come from a whole different environment than him. So when y'all come from two different environments, the only way y'all gonna meet down the middle is y'all talk about what y'all came from, what hurt y'all, and now y'all can help each other move a little forward. We gotta exceed our own expectations.
First of all, I know where he from. I know he from New Orleans, baby. I love that. Okay, shout out to my hometown. But yeah, what you think about that?
True. Very
Dang,
true.
wasn't that profound though?
Very, very true.
I just found that to be such a profound clip. Like, we all been through trauma. We all done been through something. We all gonna go through something at the end of the day. But how do we show up after all of that? Like,
One of the conversations that it is that a lot of today has reminded me of when we're talking about feeling safe with your partner and things like that. I had one of the most difficult conversations that I've ever had with anybody that I've ever been with, probably 3 months ago.
mm,
And it was about a lot that it is that I've seen, gone through, how the fuck I managed to even go through it and still be here in one piece. And when I tell you, I feel like that kind of brought a new understanding of how and why I am how I am. Like, there's even a difference in how we talk to each other now, because it was like, oh, I get it now. This makes sense now.
right.
Because, you know, I always understood, I was always willing to be there, but now certain things make total sense. And yeah, so that clip in particular kind of spoke to me for that reason.
Yeah.
Because I was literally just there.
Yeah, it spoke to me too. I just felt like it was a really good place to tie everything together. You know, we have to love one another in a way that is healthy, affirming, respectful, loving, kind, compassionate. We have to get back to that place. And I'm not just saying people that are in a romantic relationship with your spouse. I'm saying as a community, as a people, as a whole. Once we do that, all the people who are not operating in the way that they should be operating will be able to come up and rise because they'll have a standard. And that standard we will set for them. Us who know better, do better. When we start to operate and not allow other people to bring us to a place that is not conducive to where we're trying to be and the levels we're trying to get to, and guess what? Everybody will rise to the standard. Once you set the standard, there's no other choice but to rise to it. That's what I want for us as a people. And that's like my whole point of this podcast and why I do it, right? Because I want us to have these difficult conversations. I want us to talk about these things that we really struggle and strive with having. I want us to be able to talk about them and deal with them because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Us all doing better so that we can get to where we are so we can raise these kids to be better, you know? And we can all do better as a whole. Like, we have to come together, not just in our own personal relationships and our families and our homes, because that is where it starts. But we have to come together collectively as a people, as a community, so we can respect one another and stop operating in this low level. I feel like in 2024, I feel like we talking about all of the crazy, bad stuff, the horrible things. Like, we should have it out our system now. Now let's start coming up with solutions to the problem.
Yeah, we're about to experience enough negative, crazy, wild shit in the world. And while I don't mind having, you know, a conversation or two about the more out there parts, I'm kind of done engaging with a lot of unnecessary negativity, even if it's just a comment on it, because I don't engage with it actively unless, you know, whatever. But
I want to my spirit, myself with things that are positive that's going to allow me to grow and be better. And that should be how we're all looking at 2025. So my takeaway from tonight is when you know better, you do better. I just feel like overall, I just want us to grow and be better as a community, as a people. And once we do that, we'll get back to loving, right? The way that we need to, the way that we want to be loved, the way we desire to be loved, we'll get there because we all need it. Like the one innate thing that everybody needs, right? And everybody wants at the end of the day. And why we talk about it so much is because we all desire to be loved and be cared for.
Yeah.
From the time you come out your mom's womb, you want affection and love and to be held and to be nurtured. If you take a baby and you never give them none of that, they will actually die. They will not actually leave. If they will not thrive, they will be failure to thrive. A child will. If you do not love them, if you do not care for them, if you don't nurture them when they're a child, that says how important love is. And I just want us to get back to loving. Gotta get back to loving.
I just want to piggyback what he said about some of the conversations that he said. That we do have to have our conversation with the person that we may be interested in. We need to find out why that person's wounded, what causes that wound, what causes that hurt. Because you can have these conversations. You'll find out if you talk to people long enough, they'll open up and let you know, hey, as a child, this happened to me. I was abused. I was sexually abused by a relative or the pastor or school teacher. If we just have to take time out, it may not be that first day, but I think especially if you looking to have a serious relationship with that individual, you must have that conversation.
Yeah,
because it's so important. Because it'll come out eventually, but it may come out in the wrong way.
Yeah.
So we definitely gotta have that conversation.
And when you have that conversation, be ready to catch that person. Be able to be there to support them. Like you have to have. It's not enough because I feel like we do a lot of, somebody open up and they're vulnerable to you. And I hear men say this a lot, and I hear women say it as well. But I hear more from men that they want to open up, and when they do, they feel like it's been used against them, or it's been a situation where they weren't respected after they gave that. That has to die. Like nobody should feel like that. And we have to have enough in us, substance in us, to give that other person a platform where they can be vulnerable with you and still be protected and cared for.
I think a real woman would not do. Woman would not use that against them.
For sure.
To me, I just can't see a real woman that would embrace that and say, hey, you know what? I got some stuff I want to share too. So now you develop an even stronger bond with that person. And then y'all can figure out how did we get here? How we can nurture each other to be a better person for each other. Absolutely. Which is so important. So important.
I agree.
And that's part of what we had talked about the subject today. How come we're divided? So to kind of piggyback.
That's how we come back together.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I love it. This has been a great show. Do you have any takeaways? Our special guest. What's your name again?
Swag Man. Y'all can follow me on Twitter. Well, I'll never call it X. But don't come over there if you're sensitive. It's a lot of adult content. That's what I do. No, but basically just everything that you guys were saying it's all the same for me. All of those things being, highlighting what is important, being humble, being honest with yourself and honest about your situation, honest about what you're looking for, and finding somebody who completes the other side of that circle. Yeah. That's it.
That's it. It sounds so simple. It could all be so simple. So yes, thank you for coming on. Do you have any final thoughts? That was your final thought?
Kind of was, because I just want to kind of, like you said, kind of bring it home and what we kind of talked about today. So
yes. Sanella said, you're awesome for sharing. Thank you for your raw and realness, your real man shit. She said, "Thank you for your real man shit."
You guys are awesome, man. I appreciate it. It's fun every time I'm here.
Oh, well, we just, I got to bring you on. Y'all get used to the Schwack man, the Schwackster. Y'all get used to him because I love when you come on. It's always a time. It's always real and transparent. And I thank you for coming on. You're always welcome here on Juicy Talk. Okay.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you.
And when you get your own show, we coming on there too. Yeah.
Oh no, like so I'm kind of
I know.
full speed running into setting up now. So
I know.
it shouldn't be long really right now. So we'll see what happens.
It's time.
We're gonna speak that in existence.
Yes, it's time.
Yeah, for sure.
The Schwack man. We definitely we got a lot of collabs to come because I think we could do a lot together.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
All right, I'm gonna go and get to this kid that's probably tore up her entire room and in this time of me being here. But like I said, I'll talk to you guys soon, and whenever y'all want me back, let me know.
All right. Thank you so much.
Take care, King.
Take care.
No problem. Y'all be good.
Yeah, peace. This was an amazing show, and
As
I enjoyed
always.
myself. And I feel so uplifted, right? I feel so good. I feel like it was an uplifting conversation. I feel like we heard one another. I felt like it went well. How did you guys like the show? Let me know in the comments how you liked it. I really want to know. And I thank you guys so much. It is always a pleasure. I thank you for coming on, spending almost 2 hours with us tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. This was a great conversation. This was an amazing topic. Thank you so very much for always tuning in. I love each and every one of y'all. Don't forget to book on the cruise so we can hang out and kick it and have a good time together. Don't forget to book the cruise, to come on a cruise with us. February 28th is the due date for the deposit, and then it has to be paid off, I think. Yes, there we go. Big. August 14th, 2025 through August 17th, 2025. It is a very low cost. That includes the drinks package, the Wi-Fi, port fees, and taxes. That is per person. It's based on double occupancy. And it's a $100 per person deposit that's due by February 28th. And the final payment is due on May 1st, 2025. Book now. Don't wait. For everybody who books early by January 31st, I'm going to put your name in a raffle. And y'all know I like to give very nice gifts. And I'm going to put your name in a raffle, and you'll have a surprise on the day of the trip. Put it back up for me one more time. Yes. Put it back up. So I want you to reach out to Michelle, which is our travel agent, at 216-352-1177, and tell them she's the Elite Cruise Advisor, group name under Juicy Talk and Hardy Entertainment. And I can't wait to see y'all there, because y'all know we gonna turn up. Turn up.
We're also talking about the day before.
Yes.
On the ship, we're gonna have like a little.
Yeah, so we got a lot of stuff planned for y'all. We're not gonna tell y'all everything. Y'all just gonna have to show up. Y'all gonna have to show up so I can really show. But we got some wonderful things planned for you. We got a whole little vibe, a little party, a little meet and greet that we're gonna have for everybody that's going on a cruise together. Also, yes, it's gonna be amazing. And we're gonna get hotel information to you for the day. If you want to come in early, we'll have a group
we
hotel.
Recommend that you come one day early.
We recommend that you come one day early, and we want you to come so that we can hang out and party together, do our meet and greet, but also we're gonna have a package, and we're gonna have a whole little party that night. So definitely want y'all to be there for that, so y'all don't miss out on the juicy time fun. Yeah, so thank you so very much. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I want to say thank you to my producer tonight. She has rocked. She's been a rock star tonight. If you've seen a difference in the show today of it being very demure, for lack of a better term, then it is due to her and her diligence in helping us to keep everything together. Yes, yes. Don't miss on me singing. So yes, I definitely thank you. Thank you for everybody. And we got some new stuff coming up, y'all. We're gonna have a new set coming up too.
Absolutely.
So we got a whole new set coming. It's gonna be a different vibe. Hey, we are getting it together. So Juicy Talk is doing big things. That part, yes. So thank y'all so very much for coming on. Love each and every one of y'all.
Somebody. We're back.
Share. We back.
Next
We back
Thursday?
live, y'all. Every Thursday, 8
8
p.m.
o'clock.
And make sure that you share this message with somebody. If you think this was a positive show, if you think you know somebody that this can help, listen to it with your boyfriend. Listen to it with your spouse. Let it evoke a conversation that's important to have in your household. Let it evoke a great conversation. Sit back and watch it and tune in later. It's always on YouTube at Juicy Talk. That's JUCTALK. You see it at the bottom of the screen. Yes. Welcome back and Happy New Year, y'all. Love you.
Good night.
Good night. Peace. Get back right to loving. We're going to get back. Hey, we're going to get right back to loving. We're going to get back. Yes. Good night, y'all.